Hey guys, welcome back. If you're not a subscriber already, please go down and hit that button. Want to spread these videos as far as we can and spread the word on, it's okay to talk about mental health. So, in saying that, in this video, we have a chat with Luke from over in the UK. We talk about depression, anxiety, suicide, everything to do with suicide. So, the prevention, the stigma around it. Um, we talk about suicidal thoughts. It's a really good message to get out there and, spread awareness and, understanding about, what people go through with mental health. So, rambling, guys. So, let's not waste any more time and just get into the chat. Okay. Welcome back, guys. Today I got Luke hailing all the way from UK. Is that correct, Luke?
Yep, from England. Yep.
Whereabouts in England are you from?
The northeast, a town called Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
What's your football team?
Unfortunately, Middlesbrough.
I can't say much. I'm a West Ham supporter, so. But my stepfather-in-law is actually from West Ham, so.
Oh wow.
So thank you for coming onto my channel and having a chat with me. Obviously, we're here to spread awareness and talk about mental health. Myself, I don't believe as a society we talk about it enough. So can you please, tell the viewers some of the struggles of mental health that you've been facing?
Yeah, of course. So I've had anxiety for the last 8 years, but I've always been kind of an anxious. I was always an anxious kid. So I thought it was that when I was younger, it didn't come across as like a mental health thing. I thought that was just me. And depression is something I've had for the past 3 years. Yeah, it's something that I kind of deal with most days. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I know the feeling. It's very hard dealing with depression, anxiety, especially as men. And this is not taking anything away from women. That they have their own struggles too, and nothing
So
there.
yeah,
But I know growing up, we get told to suck up, man up, bowl all your
yeah,
feelings down, and just deal
be
with
a
it
real
yourself.
man.
Yeah, be a real man.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. No, I totally
um,
agree.
and I and which is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. Like, to me, it takes a real man to cry. It takes a real man to express his emotions and feelings. And until we start doing that as a society, it's our suicide rate's not going to decline. It's just going to keep increasing. And like, I
Yeah.
can't remember the numbers, but I do know that out of all suicides, male have the higher percentage of
It,
suicide.
if I'm right as well, even in the UK, it's one of the leading things of like male deaths is male suicide. It's a shocking statistic. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's awful regardless. It
Yeah.
really is.
And yeah, it is. And people shouldn't go out. And one thing I really hate when people talk about suicide is they're cowards to take their own life, and it's really upset. Sorry, I'm getting a bit upset here.
No, no,
Calm
no.
down. it it really irks me because these guys have gone through hell, and it's their only way they can see out of the pain and the darkness. Um, and it's ridiculous how people still view not just mental health, but suicide is still not really understood, and the reason why people go to that distance. I know myself, I've tried to commit suicide once. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was a failed attempt. Um, I took a shitload of medication, probably around 50 or so paracetamol, and then like
Wow.
20 something else of anything else I could find. And it did nothing to me. It really, I was waiting for it to just fade off because I was in such a dark place. I didn't think, there was a way out. Um, I didn't think, I thought that if I left this world, it would make my loved ones better off. And I think that's
You
what,
wouldn't feel like a burden.
yeah. And, when someone say they're selfish, when people commit suicide, or I know from experience when I tried it, I wasn't thinking of myself. I was thinking of everyone else.
It's a lot of the people who state that it's a selfish thing have either never been personally affected by it or haven't been in that mindset where the suicide is an option, where it's something that's like plausible for you to do, that you even thought about it. Like the notion of taking your own life is something that you shouldn't have in a normal day-to-day life. And if you do, there's obviously that's an issue, and not everybody has them thoughts of feeling so down where you think the only way I can alleviate everybody else is by taking my own life. And like that is, it's such an awful thing that actually exists. Um, and for them, yeah, it's kind of like ignorance for people when they say, "Oh, it's just a selfish way." To them, they see it as a selfish thing, but it's like you were saying, Luke. It's you're thinking of everybody else. You're thinking things will be better off without me, because that's how we perceive it, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, it is awful. I mean, um, I haven't done a suicide attempt, but um, uh, a couple of years ago, I was on the edge to make an attempt on my life. Um, I was diagnosed with Miller-Fisher syndrome, um, which have you heard of Guillain-Barre or Guillain-Barre?
No, I haven't actually.
It's a neurological nerve disease that attacks the body, and I was at university and I was living on my own, and I woke up one day and I couldn't walk. My entire nervous system like shut down.
Oh, wow.
I woke up every other day just getting ready for uni, and I couldn't. I took one step and I kind of just fell flat on my face. And I tried to get up and I couldn't. My body wouldn't let me. I could barely use the strength. I had like no strength in my arms or anything. And I'm a performer. I'm a singer. I'm a dancer. So
Oh,
my
wow. So that,
body
that would have hit
is.
you pretty bad.
So my body is like my trade. Like I've done it since I was 10 years old, and I'm like 26 now. So it's like 16 years of rehearsals, of shows, um, and I was in the hospital for a good few weeks. And during that time, I was just like, is this kind of how it is? And then eventually, when I got back home, um, I was bedbound for the next couple of months, and the only thing I would leave the house for was to go to physio appointments. And that was it. That was literally all I did. I laid in bed because I couldn't even support myself sat. I laid in bed all day, every day. I slept for 14 hours a day because that was my body's repair, because there's no treatment. It's your body just kind of slowly gets better, and you just, pardon me, slowly gets better over it. So at one point, I was like, I can't perform anymore. This is kind of it for me. So I then thought to something that is awful, and like thanks for sharing, like obviously what you're attempting and stuff, because this is the kind of thing that people need to not be scared about doing, is saying like, no, I've had these thoughts, or I've attempted it, and it is what it is, and it defines us. Because now, if you didn't have that, this channel might not even happen,
Yeah.
which then it could save thousands upon thousands of people.
Yeah. No, I hope it does. And like, yes, I've attempted it once, but I still get suicide thoughts. Like, because I suffer from PTSD, depression, anxiety, and adjustment disorder, all stemming from my time in the military. But
Yeah,
if I have like my really bad days, those thoughts come in my head. But from my first attempt, and because I went through with it, and I took, I was a medic, so once the stuff I took should have killed me. It
yeah,
some reason it didn't. And to me, I believe in faith. Um, that it was a sign that I wasn't meant to do this, and I was still here for a reason. And I truly believe what I'm doing here is my reason is to to spread those words. And even last 6 weeks it's probably been one of the best 6 weeks I've had in the last 7 years since I've been diagnosed with all this stuff.
yeah.
And I still get these thoughts, but it is what it is. I hear voices and other stuff too, and I just ignore them now. At first, it really scared the shit out of me.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
So with that, I'm not even going to attempt to say the nerve thing you had. Is that where
Uh,
your depression stemmed from?
Yes, that's it was when I was diagnosed with it, and obviously with my medical history, um, they kind of said like obviously there was a strong link between the two, and it was pretty obvious because it was from when that kind of kicked in, finding out at the time because the hospital that I went to, the head of neurology there had only ever seen my case 3 times in his career, and this is a guy who's been in neurology for 40 something years.
Yeah,
So I was the third person he'd seen in person, and there's not much like research on it. There's not much information about it. Um, it's a rare variant of another disease. So when I was there, they were testing me. They were recording me. So I'm on like medical records over in the UK now. Um,
famous.
as to help. Well, low key famous, yeah. Just not for the right thing. Yeah, I found my shot. Um, but it was it was they were videoing me in the hospital, like finding out as much as they could, um, because it's so rare to get a case in, and especially with like today, they could film like my stature. I had loads of tests on my eyes because I had a thing called complex ophthalmia, um, which is a fun one to try and say. Um, so all the muscles in my eyes wouldn't respond. So my eyes were like chameleon, so they would move on their own,
Yeah.
and I couldn't look up for 10 weeks.
Oh.
Physically, I could not look upwards. It was weird, but yeah, it was kind of it was a combination of everything. Not being able to move, thinking my performance career is over. Um, it was something that obviously it's the only thing I've ever really done and been like somewhat decent at. So finding like kind of not knowing the outcome and having doctors tell you we don't know is terrifying. Like having them like, oh my god, so how long is this gonna last for? And he kind of was like, we don't know yet. It's you have to kind of ride it out. And I'm like, so am I gonna get better? And they were like, we don't know. The cases vary from person to person. So it could have been 2 years down the line before I was back on my feet. It could have been 6 weeks. It could have been 6 months. They couldn't tell me, and so I was very like as you can imagine very down about it all. I became very recluse. I didn't want to speak to people. People obviously reaching out asking if I was all right. It just got really bad. I didn't want to be a part of anything because I didn't feel any worth. Because the one thing I did, I
Was
couldn't
taken
do. So I
away.
was like, yeah, um,
Yeah, and you're back to full strength now, and getting back to your craft. Oh, looks like we're having a little bit of difficulties. You're frozen, buddy. Okay, guys. It's frozen up. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll try to fix it. There we go.
There we go.
And you're
Sorry
back.
about
No, you're right. And guys, we're back.
that. Sorry about that. My PC just decided to have a bit of a breakdown. Sorry, what was your question, Luke?
Are you back to performing? Like, have you
Yes.
got back in for your rehab and got back to where you want to be?
Yeah. So I had to do a lot of physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, and yeah, I'm back performing. Obviously, not as much now with the current situation in the world. But yeah, I was part of a Jersey Boys tribute band as Frankie Valli as a singer, which was really fun. So it was a touring group of lads doing all the songs by the Four Seasons, which was really nice. I was meant to be in a show about 3 weeks ago, but obviously it was all cancelled due to COVID and stuff. But now, yeah, I'm still performing. It's amazing. I love it, and it's kind of given me like a new love for it because it's one of those things you don't really appreciate things until it's taken away. So knowing that I couldn't, like, there was a chance that that was all over for me was
Yeah.
kind of like a new thing to kind of reappreciate my love and my passion for it. So
No, it's good to hear. So what treatment did you go through, other than your physio for your physical health, but
yeah.
when you got that depression and your anxiety, were you seeing specialists or doing any treatment to, alleviate those symptoms?
Yeah, so I originally went to the doctors and told them about the symptoms, and they recommended antidepressants. So I just wanted to feel better, so I was started on sertraline, and I took that for, I want to say, 6.5 months, and um, for me, it kind of made things worse because I know with antidepressants and stuff, it's all different. It's obviously all different chemicals, so it's finding the right balance for you, and not every single antidepressant works for every person. And the first one that they put a lot of people on, especially in the UK, is sertraline. And for me, it had quite a negative effect. Um, but yeah, I've had counselling, which I've kind of I've pulled back from now. I don't feel that I need to go and see a professional. And I have a good support network, because really good friends who, yes, they're not like professional therapists, but they know me well enough to help me. So on my days that are bad, and though I can reach out to them and they know how to help me. But I'm currently on fluoxetine, which is a different antidepressant, which you take obviously daily. But yeah, I've had treatment, and if anyone is worried about seeing a therapist, don't be scared. That's their job. All they want to do is help. It was the thing that helped me the most. I would say was speaking, because taking a tablet, that's for chemicals, but having someone to speak to and listen to and reason with you and can rationalize some of your thoughts is game changing. And I'm quite a rational person, so when I have irrational thoughts, I conflict, and I can see it on them, because I think it's quite the same. Like, I have irrational thoughts, but then I rationalize it myself. But then I'm constantly like, I shouldn't do this, but if I do this, but then why am I thinking this? But you can't help but think that, and you kind of call yourself out on it.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing that, we might have the same name. We're both Lukes, but we have so much more in common. Like I'm exactly the same. I'm a very
Yeah,
rational thinker. That's why I was a medic. Like I'm a very scientific
yeah,
thinker. You know, I could understand when I first got PTSD and all that. I knew what was happening. I could understand it. You know,
yeah,
I always went to get help. But you know, when those bad thoughts comes in your head and those irrational things and you're like, this doesn't make sense, so you break it down with your rational side, but because
yeah.
everything's there,
But then it's still
the,
there. It's
but the rationale that you've come up with isn't really rational, but you believe that, yep, okay, this is rational. And then until you talk to someone who has that outside the box looking in, going,
absolutely.
well, I can understand where you think that's rational, but this is
It's
why it's
really not.
not. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. It takes that like other person, and even if you do start off with, sorry, I keep hitting my mic. Even if it's a family member, because even if you are, or if it's financial, I know in America obviously it's to do with like health insurance. Sometimes you can't go to somebody just. I was fortunate enough with like NHS and stuff that I got to see someone through that. Um, So, but yeah, even if it's not a therapist, it's speaking to someone, speak to a friend who has got a very like not a non-biased outlook on things, because that even that can help. Even them just going being like not being silly, but it's kind of taking them irrational things and like rationalize it for you and say no, like what you were saying, it's like by all means go and see a professional, because that's their job, that's what they've trained to do, and they'll understand it better than anybody. But if that's not an option, obviously speaking to a friend who you trust like is always a good like starting point, even if it's a stepping stone towards then seeing a professional, because it can be quite intimidating. It was for me.
It
It
can be,
was.
but I just want to correct you on one little thing there. I believe
Mm,
that even if you are seeing a professional, you should have close network like what you have, and I know I have. I got my wife, my son. I got some friends down here. You know, I got a lot of ex-veterans. You know, veterans like
yeah.
myself. That if you, I can go and talk to, even though I do see my psychiatrist and psychologist, I can't see them every day. So you still need that support network
Oh god,
um,
yeah, absolutely.
together. So you're saying correct. It's just I think the wording you said, like you know, if you can't see this, have this, but you should have both going at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. No, no, totally agree with that.
But yeah, so you know, support network is big, and I think it's like you said, it's a good way to start off with friends or family. I think me personally, I spoke to my friends first about it because I know they, you know, if I, you know, go tell your parents, you tell your mum, she's just going to be your mum and just wrap you in
Yeah,
bubble wrap. So, you know, where your friends, you know, if you've got some really good friends, like I've got some friends who aren't friends, they're family,
yeah,
and you know they'll be brutally honest with me, but then they know, you know, how to deliver it properly.
yeah. The one sugarcoat it in a way, but they still care enough.
Yeah.
They've got that. Yeah, they've got that balance.
So yeah, you just got to be careful of who you talk to because I've had a couple of people that I think were friends, and you know I opened up about everything, and you know the one thing that I reckon eases me the most is you know they turn around and go, oh, it's just in your head, get over it, and
Aw.
like
Like I know you're only saying that,
I
but
just
even when I
I
hear
threw
people, oh,
yeah I threw away a 20-year relationship with a friend because of stuff like that. And like that was the last straw, but there was little bits and pieces here and there. And you know, I've spoken to him. This that happened 3 years ago, and I've spoken to him once since then. So
oh,
like I still see him as a really good friend. Like we got so much history. It's just until he changes his attitude and or if I get better, I can't have that in my life.
absolutely,
That's
yeah,
just going to make things worse. So it's a hard balance to, you know, because we want to talk about it, and that's why my main message is talk about mental health. Um, but then you got to understand that you will get some negative comments coming back. That's just the way society is. Um,
Unfortunately, yeah.
and then if that affects you when you talk to someone, we don't want that to stop you from talking about it. It's just you should just stop talking about it to that person because obviously they don't understand. And I think that's where it is. I don't think people mean to come out and say those things. I think it's just the way they were brought up and not understanding um, what's happening. And the word ignorance gets thrown around a lot, but I don't think it's meant to be like they don't mean to be like that. That's just how they think it's meant to be talked about and how what you get said because that's what like my dad's generation was big on that. Have some cement and harden up, and it took me getting PTSD to my dad realizing that he has PTSD from when he was in the military, and for him to
Yeah.
go get help and to talk. So he talks to me about his mental health now, and I talk to
Yeah.
him. But back 7 years ago when I first started, I didn't tell dad much because always always had that the stern. We're men. We don't do this.
Yeah.
But it's slowly changing. We just need to change it a little bit more.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. Nah, I know what you
Uh,
mean.
so with me, I just like my pet hate is it's all in my head. Get over it. What's the worst thing you've heard from someone about mental health?
Why can't you just be happy?
Yeah.
And I was, it kind of took me, and I wasn't in a good headspace during when this exchange happened, and so I kind of went off on it about it because, like, for me, like, it wasn't ignorance, I think, and once again, I think it was kind of like I've been told that a man should be a man and just be all right with it, just nothing you can do about it, just kind of get on with it. Um, and it was kind of the thing of he said like, why don't you just be happy? And I remember like looking at him and going, well, if it was that easy, do you think I would like to be depressed? If I could just be happy and not have these feelings, why would I wallow in it? Because I wouldn't want anyone to feel it. I
Yeah.
don't do it for like pity or anything against anybody else. I would happily not have this day-to-day issue. Of course, if I could just be happy all the time, I would love to be.
Yeah,
If it was that,
it cracks me up when people say
easy,
that.
yeah. If
It's
it was
like a
that easy,
switch. It's like
yeah,
I'm sad. Oh, just flick the switch and be happy. It's like I wish I had a little switch where I can just go, I don't want to be sad today. Click.
yeah.
It's just,
If only, Luke, honestly,
so,
yeah,
yeah, that is one of the good ones. So,
yeah,
well, I haven't heard that too much, but that's the one that really doesn't bother me too much because I just laugh at it. I'm just
yeah.
like that. I don't even think that's ignorance or even just. I think that's just stupidity. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. That's just stupidity
No,
that think you
yeah,
can just switch a
it,
switch and be happy. Like you don't get taught that.
yeah,
You get taught to
like
bottle everything up and hide stuff, but you can't. Yeah, that's just it cracks me. I laugh at people when they say that
yeah,
to me. I really
it
do.
was like kind of you just had to, I had to like almost as much as it was infuriating, I had to laugh because it's kind of like I cannot believe the stupidity that you've just came out with. Just be happy. If only,
If only.
like,
Uh, we could fix
it,
world problems, world peace, everything if we had that little
yeah,
switch that we can just switch.
yeah. It was kind of it was annoying. It was also insulting, like because obviously I have my own personal battles, but I know and I have no delusions of it that there are people who have it far worse. And so for even for like my level that I have, and obviously it's all in this, like, we're all in the same boat, but obviously it's different levels,
Yeah,
and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate, like, other people have it far worse than I do. Um, Even like you said yourself, like with the PTSD and stuff, like that's something I will probably never experience, due to obviously where I live and how I am as a person and stuff. But even the fact that he was like, just be happy, I'm like, but imagine saying that to someone who is a million times worse than I am. It's so like it really gets me
yeah.
irked.
And I think what people really have to think, I just thought of something, saying all this stuff, to someone, like you said, with someone who's, kind of got their shit together a little bit. You can say that and we can, get angry or laugh about it. But, if you say this, and these people say this to, people that are on that edge of the cliff and they're contemplating suicide or seeking help. Because a lot of people that, and I have a couple mates that have committed suicide. I've had a lot of mates who, have tried, but, everyone's always tries to reach out for help. No one will just go do it, or not from my
Yeah,
experience anyway. And it's all that first encounter where they, seeking help. They won't go to someone and go, "Hey, I'm thinking of committing suicide. I need help." There'll be little hints.
yeah,
And, you know, if their first encounter is with someone and they turn around and go, "Oh, just be happy," or "It's just in your head, just get over it," that could be that last little push to push
yeah.
them into suicide.
That
So
absolutely, it's yeah,
it's yeah, ridiculous. And I think it is getting a little bit better. I've seen a lot of people that used to be that way, that mental um, mindset of, we're men, or just hard enough, just switch that switch. I am slowly seeing, I've got a lot of friends to that have changed their mindset. um,
yeah,
and a lot of it's because I'm open. And I've got two friends that suffer mild depression, but they didn't know they were suffering from depression. Until they never spoke about it. I thought they were happy. I lent on them when I was in my darkest hours, and then they're like, "Oh shit, okay, I'm understanding." And now they contact me. I'm still speaking. We live like 1,200 kilometers away from each other, but I'll get a phone
yeah,
call from them once a week, and we'll just chat and talk to shit. And if they're in a bad place, they know they can call me, and then
yeah.
yeah, and likewise. So
That's amazing. Like, even so far, like that, and I think it's one thing now, especially in this day and age, is having the contact no matter how far away. I mean, we're doing this in different time zones. My day's starting, and
my
you're
day's
obviously
finishing.
yeah, like, and it's amazing the fact that, and obviously this meeting's happening through the beard struggle, which is a chance like that we're both on it. So it's amazing how this that you can network so well, and even and just speaking to people. And it's I think it is amazing. It's amazing how you can, no matter how far away somebody is today, and even through like from Zoom, FaceTime, or any of the apps, like it is if you are a phone call away from people, and that can be the difference. Having your bad days, but then getting that phone call from a friend, and not even to talk about things and like be serious. Yeah, to talk shit, just to talk shit and have a laugh. Like
Yeah.
like yesterday, I was in the garden and we had a delivery of certain bits, and I needed a wheelbarrow, and so I posted on Facebook, "Has anyone got one?" We haven't got one. We don't really want to go buy one because we only need it for like 2 days. Um, and a friend of mine who I'm quite close with was like, "Oh, I'll drop it off." Amazing. And I haven't seen him in ages due to COVID-19. And it was amazing to see him, and it was really nice. Kept safe, social distancing and everything. But yeah, it was amazing to see someone and have that chat and have a laugh. Um, yeah, it is amazing. No matter who, like when you talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. And, I have that kind of thing down here. Like, I live in a small little country town. We're only 20 minutes from a big town, but, a lot of my friends down here, you need something, it's just, they'll be here. And,
Yeah.
everyone needs that support network. And it's so important to surround yourself with the right people that can, that will be, oh, I need a hand. Okay, like, there's three of us main ones that I'm really close with down here. We're all army veterans, and we've all got different injuries. So, you know, for a job that will take one person, it takes three of us to do. So, but
Yeah.
we just come together and talk the shit, and give each other shit too. Like,
Oh God, absolutely. It's you have to like it's you can kind of talk shit to each other, but that's the kind of the friendship. Like I know it's all that thing of like the worse I call you is like the better friends we are.
yeah,
So like if like when we're just talking smack, we're talking shit. Like the word that we could say the worst thing, and it's always in jest, and it alleviates moods because it's all just fun, and like I think just times like that with the right people are priceless.
yeah,
It beats quite a lot of things. It's just talking shit, having a good laugh. It can everything else just kind of fades away, and it's like pure moments that I live for and I love. Yeah,
yeah. No,
they
that's
are
good.
they are brilliant.
Cool. Well, before we finish up, is there anything final that you want to, let the viewers know on what you really want them to take away from this video?
Um, yeah. Speak like as don't be. It's easier to say it now. Don't be scared. I've been there, and I can imagine you've been there yourself. The thought of opening yourself up to people is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, and the little victories. It's the little victories every day help. The simplest of things. I mean, I was nervous about this interview. I'm not gonna lie. It's but I'm glad that I've done it. But yeah, speak, just talk. Find that right network. You will the right network will grow naturally. You'll know exactly gut instinct. You'll know exactly who you can talk to, who you shouldn't talk to. Don't be scared to seek a professional. It doesn't mean you're weak. If you had a broken leg, you wouldn't just leave it. You would go see somebody. It's because you physically can't see it doesn't mean it can't be fixed. And I know fix is the right word sometimes, but you can kind of see my analogy is like you break your arm, you put it in a cast. There's ways to help you. Don't be. I'm pretty struggling. Sorry.
No, no, no.
Um,
Wait, that was a
no,
perfect
no.
analogy. So, yeah, I think I know what you're trying to say. Let me try to finish it for you. So, if you get a
Yeah,
broken arm, you go see a doctor, you get X-ray, you put it in the cast, you let it heal. So, with mental health, it's kind of like a broken mind. It's
yeah,
all your chemicals are off, your way you think is different, your views, everything, your beliefs, everything gets questioned. So it's broken. So are
yeah,
you going to treat it like a broken bone and go seek help and start healing, or are you going to try and fight yourself and it's like a broken leg? Are you if you treat a broken leg like we treat mental health, that means it's like, oh, it's nothing, it's not broken, I can walk, and that's just
yeah. No, that's
like
exactly. Yeah,
that's really good because I'm glad you said that, and I don't think I haven't said anything to you like, but one of my things like I say a lot is we got to talk like about mental health like we talk about broken bones, normal cold or common cold or a toothache. And then the first thing you said was broken bone. I'm just like, that's perfect. I like it. So thank you very much for having a chat. I
happy to.
thoroughly enjoyed it, and this video will, I believe, will help someone out there. So thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Takes a lot of
Mm,
courage to get on here and do this, and I appreciate it.
no, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's even if only if it's one person that takes anything away from the video, that's more than enough. Even if it's one person who watches this and thinks, wow, like they've been open about it, they can speak to people. It's doable, it's achievable to speak and be open and not be worried about it. Then that's amazing.
Yeah, I fully agree. So thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you to everyone out there that's watched this video. Hopefully it helps someone out there. I'm going to keep doing these, guys. I'm going to be having these hard discussions and conversations. Well, to me, they're not hard, but you know, we still got that stigma in our society that it's frowned upon to talk about your mental health. So I'm going to keep doing these chats. I'm going to keep talking to people that want to have a chat, and you know, if not, I'll just be here chatting. So thank you again, guys. Until next time, stay safe and look after each other.